welcome to another edition of Let It Be Known. I am your host, Stacey Brown.
Peace and love, everybody. I'm Neil Anderson, and we have a lot to talk about. I've missed you, Stacy, and the chat, and I'm ready to get to these headlines that are impacting and inspiring our Black experience.
All right, well, let's see what our producer might have for us this morning.
Honestly, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You're on the other side of the president for 1 week and you can't take the heat. Imagine what it is to sit in my shoes, to not only be on the opposite side of him, but to have people like her who are constantly fanning the flames.
Crockett and Green have had very public clashes of their own, but Green's announcement of her resignation followed clashes with the president, mainly over the release of the Epstein files. Last week, Green apologized.
Well, there you have it. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, effective January 5th, 2026, she is gone from Congress. She cited the breakdown in her relationship with Trump, but she's still voting with him.
Oh, for sure. And she came in probably, her pay was probably just like yours and mine, but she's walking out a multimillionaire. Let's start there. Okay. It's
Right.
easy for her to walk away. And then there's a lot of chatter from Black women across the country about how much Black women take. You just saw Jasmine Crockett right there. Last week she had a death threat at her office.
Yep.
And so for Marjorie Taylor Greene to back down now, it just shows, what Black women are made of, because there's constant threats happening to them on Capitol Hill all the time. And I'm talking about Black women. And so for Marjorie Taylor Greene to finally stand for something and then sit down immediately after, they come for her, it just shows you the difference between a Black woman and a white woman.
Yeah, and we know now Marjorie Taylor Greene has denied she has White House aspirations, but we know she has other aspirations, and we know as you make that comparison about Black women and white women, we know that if she wants to position herself as something else, it'll be a whole lot easier coming out of her skin and certainly out of her MAGA supporting ways. So
But this is
it's.
not, as in politics, this is not how you do it. Because
Mhm,
the number one talking point against her will be when the elections come around is that she's a quitter.
mhm.
If you're going to run for president, you definitely have to have thick skin. So I don't think this fares well for her with any ambitions in politics, because at this point, she looks like she is a quitter and she doesn't have what it takes to be in Congress or to run this country. Because the minute things get hot, what are you telling me? You going to sit down? You going to
Yep.
stop?
Yep. The moment she felt a little bit of heat, and this little quasi feud with Trump has only been going on for a second. Imagine, like you said, and you pointed out well, and we used the right person, Jasmine Crockett, what she's been going through every second she's been in Congress.
Or look at with McIver. Well, she's been arrested and she faces federal charges. She didn't say this is too much for me. I have to step down.
Right.
So, it's like, girl, please. Plus, I really do think that the Trump admin threatened her. They have something on her. And that's my conspiracy theory, that they threatened her or a family member. Remember when the stock market dropped, she
Mhm.
picked up a lot of stocks, so they could be using that against her, because that's what they're saying made her a millionaire. So it could be she just stepped down, or they could be threatening her. But whatever the reason is, that is not how you run a district. That is not how you run a city, and it's damn sure not anybody we need to run our nation.
Well, there was a year ago, it was just about a year ago now, where she claimed that she had all of this pedophilia type stuff against her Republican colleagues that she would release if they didn't leave her friend alone, Representative Matt Gaetz. So they all got something on each other. You play in the mud and you're gonna get dirty, and they all are filthy.
Yeah.
It's as
I think
simple as
Jasmine
that.
Crockett said it best in that video as well. And, she was actually out here in California visiting First AME Church yesterday with Eric, I think you pronounce his name Swally, the
Okay.
Congress member that just announced that he's running for California governor. So he hit the ground running. And of course, one of the first places he went to was the Black church, because you know that no matter how much of a minority we are, we have a strong voting bloc, and Black voting power is real. So he found himself sitting right there at First AME Church in Los Angeles with Jasmine Crockett.
Dr. Marilyn says, nope. White women are made out of the house of cards. Aquarius says, I don't care about Ric Flair leaving goodbye. Um, Ric Flair. Wow. Folks, on a more pressing, more serious note, we say farewell to H. Rap Brown. He did not wait for permission to define himself. Long before federal agents called him a menace and politicians wrote laws in his name, he was a young man from Baton Rouge who believed the country needed an honest confrontation with its own history. Before he died, long before he died at the age of 82 in a federal medical facility in North Carolina, he had already become Imam Jamil Abdullah Amin Al Amin, a name he adopted after turning to Islam inside Attica prison. He had said violence is necessary, it's part of America's culture, it is as American as cherry pie. He made those statements during the height of the Black Power movement. He grew up fighting his way to and from school. He was sent to a Catholic orphanage for discipline and learned early that resistance required both strength and wit. So he earned a nickname Rap for his unmatched wordplay on the streets of Baton Rouge. His political direction began with his older brother, Ed, who introduced him to the Nonviolent Action Group at Howard University, where H. Rap met future movement leaders like Cortland Cox and Stokely Carmichael. So H. Rap Brown has died at the age of 82.
Yes, like Orangey said, he's become an ancestor now, and it's really important that Black spaces. I saw that Black No Chaser posted it over the weekend, so matter, because it's important that we preserve our history because nobody else will. So prayers out to his family, and to his legacy and his contributions to the Black experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, as Niall brought out last week, it's become official. The Trump administration is making it significantly harder for graduate students across the country to fund their education, and they are jeopardizing their future careers by classifying some degrees as, quote, non-professional. Education Secretary Linda McMahon is implementing caps on student loans for degrees now deemed non-professional as part of Trump's big ugly bill. The Education Data Initiatives note that 66% of Black graduate students rely on student loans compared with 47.4% of white graduate students. So this is aimed directly at students of color and particularly women.
Oh, 100%. But I think, this is going to hit everybody because some of the list of degrees not classed as professional, as the Trump man is saying, is nursing, physician assistants, physical therapists, audiologists, architects. Okay, that's Black people are in there, but I know a lot of white architects that are going to be impacted by that. Accountants, come on, that's across the board. Educators and social workers. So I think it's a mixture of individuals that are going to be impacted by this. And this is, of course, some of the repercussions of Trump's big ugly bill. And so here we are really beginning to start to feel the effects of what is going to happen. We first saw it in SNAP. Right, they took the SNAP away, and now they're saying you have to reapply. They're changing that. Now you have this job situation, and it is going to continue to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Patricia Jackson says they work overtime to keep folks down. So pathetic. It's true. And so one of the ramifications, as mentioned, student loan borrowing. So with these non-degree, um, or however they classify them,
It's
you can.
not classed as professional. They're
Right,
not
not classed as professional. So prior to now, they could borrow as much as $200,000 over the course of the degree. Um, Now, I think it's like $20,500 is the cap because it's non-professional. So it's a total difference when the Biden administration continued to cancel student debt, student loans, and of course it was Trump and his Heritage Foundation that fought in the court all the way to the Supreme Court to block Biden from implementing erasing student loan debt. And now we see what this crazy, unhinged administration is doing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you look at this, and then you look at, I was reading this morning as well, that some of the TSA workers and air traffic controllers still haven't received their back pay.
Of
And
course.
so, it's like this checklist of just not being fair to the American people continues to grow. And so, when I was in DC last week, one of the things we were talking about was strategy, which is something that the Democratic Party lacks. But we're going into a phase now where traditionally Donald Trump would be considered a lame duck. And they really pushed that when Barack was in office, his last 2 years, going into his third, his second year into his, administration, the second term, they started calling him a lame duck. And I think that if we begin to take that talking point, it is going to force Trump to play his hand at whatever he's trying to accomplish. And so at this point, he's a lame duck. Nothing else that he can do is going to move us forward. It's time for us to start looking at who's the next president. And I say, let's start doing that sooner than later.
Well, certainly the Democrats are looking at the midterms. They're hoping that they are able to not only wrest power in the House, but the Senate as well, as Al Green and a couple of others have designs on impeachment. That would be extremely important because we know Trump was twice impeached in his first term, and yet he had the Senate in his favor, so that it was not carried out. He was not convicted in the Senate, as it were, but still twice impeached overall.
Yeah. But yeah, he's definitely a lame duck at this point. And so let's just start calling it out. Impeach. You can talk about impeachment, but at the end of the day, it's time for whoever is going to run for president. Let's start seeing who those candidates are next year.
Because we are right. It's about that time around.
Yeah, it's about that
spring.
time. Yeah.
Winter,
So,
spring of yeah.
yeah, and so let's force his hand. Let's see, because we already know when we actually had the opportunity. So when we were in DC, it was the National Conference of State Legislators, right? So you had white, black legislators. We went out there with the black legislators. But on the first day, the Trump administration was all over that place, talking about their agenda, what they were going to do with immigration, SNAP, and the black legislators were coming out of the sessions hot as fish grease. Okay, they were pissed. And so the next day, all of the legislators were supposed to go to the White House. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And the president of the National Conference of State Legislators is a black man. And so a lot of the black legislators said, we're not going to let him go to the White House by himself. So a few of them went with them, including Leader Camper out of Tennessee. Well, Nicole Collier, which is a state legislator out of Texas, she was the one that got locked into the state house. Remember when Gregory Abbott locked the black woman? So it was her. So she got invited. She got her acceptance letter. The day before, they sent her, I'm sorry, but you can't come to the White House. And several other black lawmakers got that email. And so Hakeem Jeffries and the Congressional Black Caucus said, forget about that. Y'all come and meet with us. And so we met with them. And one of the stories that Hakeem Jeffries told us about was the meeting with him and Chuck Schumer in the White House. Now, I'm not going to go into details of everything that he said, but the bottom line was what I'm getting to. It took the long way to get there. Is the hat that said 2028.
Yes.
And so we know that Donald Trump is planning to do a coup. So let's force his hand. Let's start calling him a lame duck. His time is up, and watch how he responds.
Nancy Wall says, quack, quack. Yes, force Stephen Miller to see what he will do. She's quack, quack. Shonda H, though, she cautions
Let's
that.
force your hand.
Yeah, Shonda H has a caution. She says he is in position to become a lame duck. He's not a lame duck as long as he has the Senate and Supreme Court. She says context is important. Well, we know he has the Supreme Court in his back pocket. You can only hope that the will of the people will at some point really push the Supreme Court to do what it's supposed to do in the first place.
But see, Shonda, that's my point. If you start calling him a lame duck, because at the end of the day, whether he has the Supreme Court or not, it's how he uses the Supreme Court. And so if you start calling him a lame duck and he starts feeling the pressure that his time is up, and the American people and everybody else, it's going to force him to use those things so he could be exposed. That's all I'm saying is let's expose, let's force his hand to do the worst. Let's not wait and be surprised by it. Let's play chess, not checkers.
Yeah, you're saying force his hand, and as bombastic as he is and uncontrolled, he can't control himself, so he's going to snap and he's going to let you know what's going on.
Right.
So you're right. Yep. Folks are now paying more in childcare than they are paying in rent. It is hitting American families with a financial force that rivals housing, and a new national analysis shows that in many cities, caring for a child now costs more than paying for your monthly housing expenses. Researchers at Linden Tree found that infant care costs exceed average rent in 11 of the nation's 100 largest metro areas, while child care for 2 children exceeds rent in 85 cities across the 100 largest metropolitan areas. Full-time infant care averages $1,282 a month, compared with $1,716 for a 2-bedroom rental. But the balance flips in places like Springfield, Massachusetts, where parents pay almost $2,000 for infant care and $1,734 for rent, which is a 15% gap. That is the highest in the country. So, Neil, they are everything's going up except pay.
100%. Everything is going up except pay. And so, I mean, this is just 2026 is going to be very interesting, not just because of the midterms, but because of the impact of all of these stories. Like I read this morning also about how unemployment is up.
Yep.
And so, and this is information that you have to dig to find now, because Trump stopped putting out the monthly job rates, right? And so you have to dig for this information. But you know what you just said about things going up, jobs being decreased. This is setting up for the perfect storm for 2026, and how the people respond will be determined if we will continue to go the way that we're going, or we'll make the turn to get somewhat back to where we used to be.
Well, if earlier this month, the elections earlier this month prove anything, it proves that there are people who right now are fed up. The question remains, the real test is next November. How fed up? Will they take it out on the folks who have helped Trump get to this point where they have just, everybody has been hurt. People who have supported this have been hurt, and they didn't think they were going to get hurt, obviously, the way that they are being hurt. But we will see. And don't let a whatever it is, $1,500, $2,000 stimulus type check, if that does indeed come, don't let that sway you. You know, one of the things I hate, Neil, when you heard like a Sexy Red or someone else say, well, Trump gave us that the STEMI, because he really didn't give you the STEMI, number one. But folks went with that. There were folks who actually went with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. $2,000 ain't nothing no more.
That's exactly. What's that
There
gonna
was
do for you?
there's another statistic floating around that most Americans spend 50% of their paychecks within 48 hours.
Ooh, that's an amazing stat. Within
Most
48 hours, it's
spend
gone,
their
half gone.
paycheck within 48 hours.
Whoa,
At least
that's
half
a
of it.
testament to the cost of everything.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so, we still got a lot to be thankful. Look, it's Thanksgiving week. We still got a lot to be thankful for. We got the
Okay.
chat. We got we got family.
Dr. Marilyn says, I'm glad I'm done with those days. It's almost like they want women to stay home. Michelle Madison says, I watched my oldest grandson in California for 3 years. My daughter and son-in-law pay for all of my expenses, including rent, utilities, etc. Best job ever, for real, for real. Wow. So the other reality of this America is this: a white woman riding a New Jersey Transit train was caught on video falsely accusing a black man of assault after he tried to move her feet from the seat he needed to use. The woman, who had been lying across 2 seats with her feet propped up, refused to move. When the man gently nudged her feet to sit down, she erupted, shouting, "That's assault!" And she started cursing him. There's the video there. And eventually, what was great about this, what turned out to be great about it, is that the passengers and the staff immediately told that woman she was wrong. She needed to leave. They escorted her off the train, and she did the whole walk of shame thing. That's what you need to do. That's what you like to see happen, I should say, Niele.
Right. I mean, this, white privilege, compounded with, Trump. It's just, you just see how Karens really feel when they have that privilege, amplified.
Yeah.
When you know that nobody is going to do anything to you. And so, it's crazy. You could look at that situation. I think about the black mothers, the video that went viral of how she was treated by that white nurse, which we talked to one of the state lawmakers that presides over the district in Houston of that hospital, and we're going to have her on to talk about the work that she's doing to hold that hospital accountable, and how she even had a personal experience with that hospital. And so, it's just, but back to what, the point of just how Black people are treated, not by just white men, but white women.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was interesting that woman referred to another white woman who was telling her how wrong she was as a Karen. She referred to her as a Karen. It's like, are you kidding me here? And that story is, so it's good to know that we'll be talking to someone who's experienced something like that. But allegedly, or at least reportedly, I should say, that the nurse and a doctor involved in that situation were both fired by the hospital. So,
well, no, she hasn't been fired. You talking about the first young lady in the chair? She hasn't been fired.
The lady, so one nurse, there's been reports over the weekend that a nurse and a doctor, I don't know. So there were 2 stories we talked about. I don't know if it's the hospital you're talking about. You remember there was 2 separate incidents.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one that was in the chair squirming.
Okay.
I'm talking about her.
Yeah. No, the one that was that gave birth 10 minutes later in her husband's van. I think it's the one, where they fired the nurse and a doctor, apparently, according to published reports over the weekend. So,
no, what state is that in? Do you know?
Oh gosh, I did know. I'm trying to remember.
Stacey, I'm with you. The news cycle happens so fast and so rapidly. It's hard to keep up.
It feels like Trump has been in office for 10 years. I'm telling you right now. So Shonda H is helping us out here. That incident occurred in Dallas, not Houston. Yet this problem is not okay. So there was two incidents though, Shonda H. We're trying to remember. We know one of them happened in Texas. The other one, I try to. We brought it to you guys last week. Is listen, like Miel said, things are happening rapidly, and so forgive us for my senior moment anyway. Let's lighten it up a little bit. I saw something in the root, Miel, that you would either like or
Oh
be
wait,
disgusted
Shonda
by.
says it was. Shonda is on it. We need to get her
Okay,
producer so she can help us with this.
okay,
All
Indiana.
right.
Got it. Good.
It was Indiana.
All right. See,
There we go.
Shonda H be keeping us honest in here.
Okay.
She is not
Bring it.
playing. Y'all better get it right.
Good for you.
Destined forever to live writes that black and white women, most white women are all talk. Black women fight, have had to for generations. So a white woman cave into a white man is nothing new. Oh, okay. I guess we're going back to Marjorie Taylor Greene with that comment. All my life I had to fight.
It's so funny. I was watching The Help yesterday, just random. It's all relative because that's what they had to do all their life. They was fighting.
That's it. That's it. And the problem is that black women especially are taken for granted that they can handle it. They can handle it. It's all taken for granted. So
Right. And
um,
people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they could just walk away after she's made millions, okay? Because she went in that White House, she was looking broke, okay? She was looking broke. She come out and say, "I'm done," but she leaves a multimillionaire. The privilege
yeah,
of it.
the privilege of it all. Unbelievable. Okay, so let's lighten it up a little bit, or maybe disgust it a little bit, make it disgusting. A long-running culinary debate in black communities is back, folks. Niel said the holidays is this week, so this culinary debate returns. And no, Dawn Montgomery, is not about sugar and grits or whether catfish belongs with spaghetti. The Root says the real question is simple: should black folks have the right to eat chitlins? They are high in sodium and they smell terrible while cooking. And no, they should not be eaten regularly, they say, because of the risk of high blood pressure. But the Root notes that on special holidays, the answer is absolutely yes. Chitlins are more than another soul food staple. They carry a deep cultural weight in Southern black life dating back to slavery, when they were often prepared only during gatherings or holidays. So, Niel, other than the no raisins in the potato salad that Stephanie Humphreys is writing, should black folks continue to consume chitlins?
I mean, I eat chitlins. Me and my aunt were just talking. Her husband bought her 2-packs. She told me if I wanted some, that I needed to bring her 2-packs because they shrivel up to nothing. And if I want to take some home, I need to bring mine. And so, chitlins are very expensive now. So, I mean, they used to be cheap, just like, everything else, but they are extremely expensive, So I'm saying they are the caviar of
All right.
meal right now at the price. But yes, I will be going to get my chitlins and taking them to my aunt's house for New Year's. Yeah, I love it. But I only want to eat them really once a year, and it's during the holiday season, right? You get
Okay.
chitlins, some hot sauce, some collard greens, some fried chicken, some coleslaw, and a little sweet potato, and you're good to go.
Grit said, don't ever ask if you can taste anything I'm eating.
That's fine, but I love me some chitlins around this time of year.
Oh my gosh. So Stephanie Humphreys channel, she says, I don't eat them, but eat your chitlins if you want to, but only in moderation. And Patricia
Right.
Jackson says,
You can't
yuck.
eat a lot because they start to make you nauseous. If you can't get it like a bowl of cereal. It has to be like a mixture of, like I say, like I have my meal. I love it.
What do you
And
eat them with? Where do
so
they go?
they laugh at me because I want to go get a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken and the coleslaw. And then I have to have some collard greens, a little sweet potato, And that's my meal, and I love it.
Do you put hot sauce on it?
Of course, you can't eat chitlins without hot sauce.
Patricia Jackson said yuck, but if you enjoy
And the
them,
good
go
thing
for
about
it.
it is they actually come clean now. I remember before as a little kid, my grandmother would be in the sink cleaning up and cleaning up. And my grandfather would be like, nobody eats these chitlins unless you get in here and help your grandmother clean them. And we used to be like, we used to leave the house. When the chitlins came, everybody had something to do. Okay.
Oh my gosh. But why is it, Neil, that why do folks even bother with them? That most people are repulsed by it, by the smell and stuff like that. Why do people bother with them? What do you think?
Because they're
Chat, tell us.
good. They're good. You know what? And I think it's a cultural experience too. Like I had my friends and family giving this weekend, and I made gumbo. And one of the things I talked about was how, gumbo used to just be something that we would make at, within our culture because we didn't have anything else. And it was just this big pot of stuff, right? Now you go try to get a bowl of gumbo and it's $70.
That's a
And for us
shame.
back in the day, it just used to be a survival meal.
Lydia Mathis says it's traditional. Stephanie Humphrey channel writes that this is reminding her of the Cosby Show episode when Cliff was cooking and he scooped out a cow's tongue, and Theo said, "I don't want to taste anything that can taste me."
Destiny said cabbage does not smell good cooking, but they sure taste good, and that's just how chitlins are. They don't smell
Uh-oh.
good, but they taste good.
So Mike V says he sees you and Kamala Harris washing out collard greens in the bathtub.
No,
She said,
no. I don't
Grizz-
wash my greens in the bathtub, but if
Oh,
Kamala
bathtub,
does,
that's crazy.
more power to her.
More power to her. Greer says, don't kiss her on the cheek or nothing. She says, don't need no directions on how to not eat pig's intestines. A good gumbo can get expensive, Shonda says. Perfect soup for cold winter day.
Yes, and Shonda, the pot was empty. I had to go. It was nothing but roux left in that pot. So I went yesterday and got me some more seafood, and I make my own batch because I didn't get any.
See, we're getting an educational lesson too, because RNG, now he's back to Power 96. Come on, man. He says the gumbo comes from the word gumbo, which means okra, and it comes from West Africa. Do you like okra?
Yes, I started putting okra in my gumbo because I like a thicker roux. And it helps it thicken up. So yeah.
I have a brother who used to love, probably still does, okra. We used to always like, man, why are you eating that? It's so slimy looking.
It's so slimy. I just, when I was growing up, all I could think about was saliva, and I just did. But now, as I'm older, I chop that okra up real good and put it in that gumbo. That's about the only place you're gonna find me eating okra, and you can't even taste it. It's more for the thickening of the consistency, not really for the taste.
Oh, okay. So is all this stuff gonna be on your table this week?
Oh yeah. So like I said, I had my friends giving. I made gumbo, I made black eyed peas, and I made red beans and rice. And then we had the fried chicken. And so yeah, so that we started it off that. I still have some left. And then it's just gonna continue in Thanksgiving, and then we're gonna go on to Christmas, and then on New Year's we're gonna have our chitlins.
Okay, so RNG says eating gumbo without okra is just soup. And Van Rick Tony says we should try Indian okra dishes. He says you're gonna love it. Have you ever had anything like that? Indian okra?
No, I'm not an okra eater. That's not my calling. I'm more of a chitlin girl.
Okay, we go back to the Okay, so he says, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, bende masala, aloo bende, crispy bende fry. chitlins. All right. Listen, nasty but tasty, he says. Okay, gotcha. All right, Mia, what else you got this morning?
So continue to put in the chat what you're making for your Thanksgiving dinner too. Give us some thoughts. But
John said, where's his invite, Neo?
I don't even think we're in the same state, Jonathan. So in more political news, the Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE, has been dissolved with 8 months still remaining on its contract. Now, the White House Trump admin is saying that doesn't exist. Adding that it is no longer a centralized entity. So now they done fired all the federal workers, they done got rid of everything, and now they've just dismantled this organization, DOGE. And so it's gone.
Yes.
All the mayhem that Elon Musk caused, all of the savings that he said, none of it happened. The only thing that happened is a whole bunch of Black folks lost their jobs. That's it. That's the only thing I can think of that has happened out of DOGE. Can you think of anything else, Stacey?
Just destroying lives and Elon getting richer and taking our information.
Okay, I think the chat is hungry because they still talking
They
about
still sweet potato eggs, a sweet potato egg roll with pecan praline drizzle. They hungry, making me hungry.
that sounds like a stomach ache.
Interesting. Oh,
You know, who am I to say? Because I eat chitlins, so hey, I think I eat the bottom of the barrel. So whatever.
what is that ORG is saying? Smoke turducken stuff with crawfish tails, shrimp sausage, and jambalaya.
Is that a form of stuffing or dress? Do you say stuffing or do you say dressing?
That's a good one. Stuffing.
I
I think I would take stuffing. Yeah.
I say dressing.
Okay, Michelle Madison is making curry chicken, stuffing, cabbage rolls, crab croquettes, and cauliflower bites. Okay, we can do without the cauliflower bites.
Yeah. I'm bringing the turkey too, but I'm just going to Popeyes and picking up the turkey.
Okay, so Power 96 says dressing. You call it dressing, not stuffing. He's from the
Yeah,
South.
I call it dressing too, ORG.
Okay.
Michelle says she calls it stuffing.
Okay.
Patricia
Wow.
says dressing. Okay. All right. Keep it going. Keep it going. Let's head on over to some sports headlines where Shedeur Sanders,
He went
yay,
off.
makes Brown history with the win over the Raiders for his career start. Now, no Brown rookie QB has won his first start since 1995. And he became the first Brown rookie quarterback to win his first since that year. And so the headlines and social media was going crazy for Shedeur yesterday. And I think it had a lot to do with how he was treated.
Oh, when you put, and you've made this argument before the season started. You were there making the argument for him. When you put two guys, that less qualified guys ahead of him, and then you get this far into the season, it just shows you how silly whatever it is that they wanted to, whoever they were sending the message. I still believe it was they were trying to get back at Dion for some reason. They were trying to hurt him in some way. It just shows you how silly that really was, because if this man can perform at that level, oh my goodness, what are you doing?
Right. I look at this too at how God works. Because his contributions now to the NFL is so much more impactful, meaningful, and the headlines are much more bolder and bigger because of how they treated him. And so now the egg is on the NFL's face because they tried to deny him, and even still, in the words of Ayanna, not Ayanna, but Maya Angelou, he rises.
I mean,
Okay?
11 he 11 pass, 11 out of 20, but 11 completions and 200 plus yards is amazing. Just 11 completions and he got 209 yards out of it and a touchdown. There is one little small blemish of the interception, but my goodness, to be in his position and to rise up and put on that type of performance is nothing short of amazing.
And when they asked the coach yesterday who would start next week, he didn't have an answer.
Yeah, and that leaves Patricia Jackson's question really good. Do you want to win or stay in hate?
And from my understanding, I mean, I only pay attention to the Browns when I see a Shador headline. They were on a losing streak, right?
Yeah, they've been bad, yes.
And
And to
so
have this talent on the bench being bad says that ownership has a problem.
And so the minute he steps on the field, not only does he bring the win, but the Browns are now the headline for NFL Sunday. Okay. And now people want to go to the games. Deion Sanders was there yesterday. So part of, being in the league is having star power and bringing people out. I mean, if you want to be a top tier team, then I think that coach knows what he needs to do. Play if you want.
No, you really have no choice but to play him next week. It's that simple. Lauren says idiot coach didn't even give him a game ball. It's what shows you. It shows you that this is not about Shador and his ability or inability to perform. This is personal. And it shouldn't be. It's crazy.
It's crazy, but I love how God works. You know what I mean? I mean, look at God. In the words of Corinne Hawthorne, look at God. Now he is the head. Out of all the games that happened yesterday, everybody's talking about this one right here.
Yeah, the problem with the NFL is that there's such a plantation mentality at the NFL. That it matters to an extent, but not really, in the sense that they are so hard-hardened and they're still so anti. I hate to say it, but they're so anti-black, anti-young and black for sure. And anything that they do that adversely affects an African American player, they get away with. I mean, look, Colin Kaepernick. That's something that they should never have been able to get. That collusion. I know he has the lawsuit going still, and I think he should win that lawsuit eventually. But they feel like they can do whatever. It's a plantation mentality in NFL.
Well, I mean, and it's a lot of hypocrisy too, because one of the things that came out a couple weeks ago was that, Colin Kaepernick, they said he was making a political statement and it didn't deserve to be on the field.
Yeah.
If you let Donald Trump come to the Commanders game and make a political speech. So which one is it? Which one is it? And so, yeah, I hope that Colin Kaepernick does win the lawsuit, but I also like how he trolls them. When anytime you talk to him, he says, "I'm still ready to play. Anybody want to call me up? I'm available. I still, I'll be on the bench. What you want to do? I'm here."
Yeah. Power 96 says personal is an understatement. This was designed to crush the hope and dreams of a black man and his son from accomplishing their ancestors' wildest dreams.
Yeah, and Deion was there yesterday. It was a beautiful sight. I loved it. And like I said, I haven't even paid attention to the season, but every time Shador shows up, he shows out, and they hate it because they can't break him. And even his responses in the press conference after post game, and just it was humble, but it still had that prime time flair to it. And I loved it all. Van Ricky Tony, all the way from India. Welcome. Come on in. Welcome to Let It Be Known.
Is he from India?
He says, I'm from India. Now, I don't know if he's
wow.
in India. Are you in India right now, Van Ricky Tony? And good morning, Lauren Burke. Lauren Burke is checking in.
The one and only.
Yep. She says they would rather lose than admit they were wrong. 100%.
Yeah, and Mike V mentions that they let Trump and Vance invite Daniel Penny to a game as well. Exactly. So there you have it. So we'll be paying attention to see now. Guess what? Everybody's going to be paying attention to the NFL next week just to see if Shador starts. Just to see. I know. That's why I'll be paying attention.
And last headline for today is the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, is proposing an $18 fee for travelers without a real ID to pass through airport checkpoints. Now, the fee would cover costs associated with new technology needed to verify the passenger's identity, TSA said. So now, if you don't have a real ID, they're going to charge you $18. So I guess this was a phase in rollouts. The first they warned you. I don't have a real ID yet, so I travel with my passport. So now I guess this is going to force me to go get that real ID, because I wasn't going to get it till my driver's license expired. But I guess now I have no choice. I don't move because they move.
When I move, you move. Oh boy. All right. Some Black history facts, folks. On this date in 1880, Southern University was established. The HBCU, a trailblazer in the higher education community, has more than 30 academic programs awarding bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees and representation from more than 20 countries. Southern University is truly a melting pot for culture, education, and services. Its arts, nursing, engineering, computer science, and business programs, among others, continue to grow to become among the best in the state and, of course, across the country. So Southern University was established way back on this date in 1880.
Yeah, and of course, Southern University is getting ready to go against Grambling State University this Saturday at the Bayou Classic. And everybody know who I'm going for, GSU, baby.
Oh, boy.
And let's head.
We need to ask RNG who's the favorite in that game. RNG, let us know who's the favorite in that game.
Well, it doesn't matter. The favorite is Grambling. Okay? That's all. That's all. It's no, huh?
She said what she said. She says Grambling. Okay.
All right. And on this date in 1870, Robert Abbott, the founder of the influential Chicago Defender newspaper, was born in Georgia.
Yeah, the Defender. Wow. When folks say, you still have a couple of folks who say Black press. What is the Black press? And then you say Chicago Defender. It's like, you cannot, folks, be Black in America and not know about the Chicago Defender.
For sure. It was actually, the Chicago Defender was part of the migration to the Midwest. So when people were leaving the South, that paper was on the trains. And so that was the way that you stayed connected to what was happening to, folks leaving the South and building better lives in the Midwest. And so it was a tremendous, important paper. And you can really learn about that when you go to the Smithsonian in DC. So it's a very important paper with the Black experience here in the United States. Can't get around it.
And there you have it, Neil. Power 96. RNG says Southern has interviewed Marshall Faulk for their next head football coach. And he says, fun fact, the first Galloway from Southern University in 1944. And here you go. He says Southern will upset Grambling. That's his prediction.
I mean, hey. We will see, RNG. When we come back.
I'm trying to hear it.
We will see. Okay.
Oh boy, y'all gotta bet some like gumbo or something. You put up the chitlins, he put up the gumbo.
Well, I would love to taste RNG's gumbo. I bet you it is really good.
I bet it's good too. I see him cooking all the time. He sent me a picture just a moment ago of the duck thing he was talking about. But it's like just got the seasoning on it. It's not cooked yet. So I want to see it after it's cooked. It's the turducking. He says a turkey, duck, and chicken mixed together.
I guess that's how they feel about chitlins, because I'm like, I don't know about that orange.
So you got turkey, duck, and chicken all mixed together. Huh.
What is it like? Is the consistency like a ground beef or something?
It looks like a chicken from the picture he sent me.
Oh, it looks like a whole chicken?
It looked like a whole chicken, yeah. Yep. It looks like it looked like this one got some paprika on it.
Well, we know what Orange G is bringing to the potluck.
Oh man, but it's like a chicken that doesn't really have everything. Like it got a couple of maybe one leg and a couple of wings there.
Well, we can't see it. You got to
I
send it to
know.
Greer
I,
so then she can put it up
I
on the
know.
screen so
Yeah,
we
I
can
should have.
all
Right,
see.
right. All right. Well, we're gonna be
Maybe
we ought to.
tomorrow we'll have some more cooking ideas for Thanksgiving. I want to see like the boudin. Is that what it's called? The boudin, that sausage roll thing that everybody eats down south. That's another one that I'm like, I'd have to be on a good drunk night to taste that.
A good drunk night.
Yeah, I'd have to have a few cocktails and be bold and
Mm.
courageous for
Okay, so
my
Olivia
palate.
Mathis knows what this is. She says it's her duck in stuffed inside. Okay.
Oh, inside the turkey?
So you have a duck wing, a turkey leg, a turkey body, and a chicken body.
Okay. I
Sounds,
need to see a picture.
it sounds like some crazy incest was going on in that family, and they done had some sort of lame.
Oh my gosh.
We gotta
What
go,
food
Niel.
did you say? Oh, boudin. I think it's boudin.
Boudin.
Yeah, the sausage that they have down south that and it's like a ball.
Oh, listen. We gotta go. Say bye, Niel.
See you guys tomorrow.
Go on it. Have a good one, y'all. We'll check y'all out tomorrow.